To see fewer meltdowns and more cooperation, you need to start seeing yourself as a leader of your household. In this video, I will explain why this mindset matters and how to make the shift. I'm Elda Scarano, a parenting coach and behavior specialist with over 2 decades of experience working with children. I hold a bachelor's degree in psychology with a focus on child and adolescent development. And I teach parents to combine behavioral science, developmental psychology, and leadership skills to create calm, consistent homes in person or with the help of my guide, Guiding Little Minds. Why shift to a leader's mindset? In short, because it will increase your influence and your child's cooperation. But there are 3 underlying reasons of why this will happen. But before I explain those reasons to you, I want to read to you your job description. I have a link also to a full job description for a parent, as if you were going to get a job at a company, if you want to read it. But the short version of it says, a parent's job is to lead with empathy, modeling values, setting clear boundaries, and teaching the skills that help a child grow into a capable, kind, and independent person. Notice here that the first part of the sentence says to lead. And what gets in the way of leading? 3 things. The way you were parented, because we inherit or we parent the way we were parented. So if your parents weren't great leaders, you most likely are not a great leader. Another reason why make the shift is because if you didn't inherit great leadership skills from your parents, then you can borrow from other leaders and use them to parent. And the third reason is because children 0 to 5 learn 90% of what they know from models. They copy models, and you are one of the most important models your child has, because when you are little, you only see your parents, close friends, a few family members, maybe people at preschool, but it's very limited, their social circle and the people that they learn from. So you need to ask yourself, am I modeling what I want my child to become? Many parents may argue that they don't parent like their parents did, but there is a lot of research that indicates otherwise. And that tells us that as children, we watch our caregivers handle emotions, rules, conflicts, and particularly under stress or when we are tired. The brain grabs these fast, familiar scripts. Also, if a tactic worked in your household, in your family, for example, yelling stopped the behavior, or giving in ended the whining, this was reinforced, which makes you more likely to repeat it with your own children. Before we learn the steps to make this mindset shift, let's see the traits that we need to focus on, because leaders have many skills. I wrote them on the right. You can see them. There's so many. They like to teach and develop others. They want people to succeed. They have a clear vision. They set expectations. They follow through. The list goes on and on and on. But there are some skills that are must-haves at home, and I put them to the left. And these are to have a clear vision, to know how to set expectations, clear communication, empathy, and self-regulation. Now that we know what we need to focus on, let's see the steps to make this mindset shift. The first step is to observe leaders you admire and that ideally you interact with often. This can be teachers, mentors, supervisors, people who guide you, who motivate you, who help you thrive. And you make a list of their skills using 1 or 2 words. All these skills that I listed on the slide before, they are not innate. Anybody can learn these things. So you make your list, like the example I have here that says clear vision, sets expectations, great communicator, and so on. And then you audit yourself. That's the second step. You put a check mark on the skills that you already have and circle the ones where there's gaps. And after that, the third step is to mimic and practice. You're going to mimic these leaders and practice, practice, practice. So you're going to have to observe them carefully. And when you observe them, try to notice how they carry themselves, how they build relationships, how they communicate and set expectations, how they respond when someone is upset. Observe what do they model, how they hold people accountable, how they support people when after they make mistakes. And when you're practicing, know that your old scripts may come. So expect resistance to change. That is normal. And if you slip in the moment, you lead, you apologize, you breathe, reset, and try again in the moment. Don't wait until the next time. So if you started to scream at your child, for example, and you want to avoid this, you take a breath, or in your head think reset, and then you immediately say, sorry, I didn't mean to yell. This is your 3-minute warning to turn the TV off. Communicate like a leader, even during consequences. Short, respectful phrases, neutral tone, no lectures. What you model is what sticks. And if thinking of consequences makes you uneasy, don't worry. In my guide, Guiding Little Minds, you learn that consequences and timeout are not punishments, and you learn the steps to apply developmentally appropriate consequences that increase the behaviors you want to see with science. The moment you start speaking and presenting yourself like a leader at home, you will notice a different response from everybody, not only from your children. The change takes time and practice. It doesn't happen overnight. But shifting to a leader mindset moves you past instinctive, emotion-driven reactions and strengthens your influence so your kids cooperate and respect boundaries. The tools and step-by-step framework to run your home like a mini organization are in my guide, Guiding Little Minds, and I'm currently working on more video lessons that touch on the main points explained in the guide. So now imagine your children and everyone in your household knowing the plan and their role, working as independently as possible, following rules and routines, and when they don't, you follow through calmly and return to teaching. That is leadership in action. Grab Guiding Little Minds on Amazon and Kindle. And if you're in Austin, you can email me at guidinglittleminds.help@gmail.com for hands-on help putting the guide into practice. I'm Elda Scarano, parenting coach and behavior specialist. See you next time.